I'm Lisa Spector. I'm thrilled to be here. I know there are a million things you could be doing with your time, even if you're sheltering in place or even if you're getting out a little bit these days. I so appreciate you being here with me and with Gina, my black lab, who's going to be 11 next month. I can't believe it. Um, While I'm talking, if you could tell me if you have a dog or a cat at home, tell me in the comments if you could say a little bit about them, how old they are, big dog, small dog, medium dog, breed, mixed breed, how long you've had them, where you got them, was it a rescue organization, and so forth. I'd love to know that about your dogs. And are your dogs with you listening right now? Where are you? Are you cuddled up on the sofa? Are you in your office? Are you in the family room? So if you could post that too, that'd be great. And facing the mic, it's suddenly hard to hear your voice. Okay, thanks, Tom. I don't know this mic thing. Okay, so Tom, is that better with the sound if it's just right next to me? Non-human animals here. So I just want to deal with the sound for a second. That'd be great. While I'm doing that, if you could post your dogs, cats, age, personality. What are they like? Are they funny? Are they lively? Are they sleepy? I'd love to know a little bit about them. And you can see my head. Good. Coco's here with you. And I know you can't hear me as well when I get ahead, but that's how I see the comments. Tonight is a celebration, so I thank you for being here. And we have Rosie and Coco, and that is good. Okay, great. So I'm going to leave it right here. I'll move it closer to the strings when I'm playing. I am Lisa Spector, and I launched this Left Hand Lemonade series. I played a Facebook Live hosted by Group Muse on March 28th when we were first starting to shelter in place. It replaced a live concert. And then I decided to launch Left Hand Lemonade, which really is an album I've been working on for left hand only, along with a memoir I've been writing. And those were going to come first, but when all this happened and everyone's life was turned upside down, I turned everything upside down and I decided to make this a multimedia piece so that I could share my story of resilience and recovery from 7 fractures, 4 surgeries to my right hand, surviving a health practitioner that told me I never play the piano again, and here I am, and I play a lot with 2 hands. Last week I did 100% all left hand. The week before I did almost 100% 2 hands with an all Chopin program, and I'm enjoying. It's almost 3 years now into my recovery. My right hand's doing really well. Tonight's a little bit lighter program because it's designed for de-stressing your dogs and yourselves, as well as music for environmental enrichment. So how did this all start? So I am a huge dog lover for many, many years. And in 2003, I was a volunteer puppy raiser for Guide Dogs for the Blind. I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area, and Guide Dogs for the Blind is up in Marin County in San Rafael. Just going to check. Quince Tate, good, okay. Guide Dogs for the Blind is up in an hour plus north, and I had just lost my golden of 14 years, Byron. He passed at 14. I had him for 12 years, and I was devastated, and I thought I'm not ready for a full-time commitment for a dog. So I had been to beautiful graduations at Guide Dogs for the Blind, and I decided, since I wasn't ready to make a lifetime commitment for the life of a dog, I decided I know I'll become a puppy raiser. It's something I just always had in the back of my mind when I went to graduations and I saw how much these puppies do for people who can't see and really need them. I decided to become a volunteer puppy raiser for Guide Dogs for the Blind. So my yellow lab puppy's name was Sanchez. And at the same time, professionally, I was teaching, and I owned a music school in my coastal town of Half Moon Bay, south of San Francisco. And I wanted to learn how to get my 4-year-olds to focus, how to do the opposite and charge the nervous system of 13-year-old boy who would come in after school. So I went to a lot of seminars, learning how to use music for different intentional purposes. And it was so fascinating. With the right prescription of music, I learned to calm a group of 4-year-olds in no time flat. And I noticed by my side, my 4-month-old rambunctious puppy, Sanchez, would be snoozing in about 30 seconds. So that's when I knew there was potential for, and there was a need for actually creating music to not only calm dogs, but to also relieve anxiety. I had a 10-plus year career doing that. In 2017, NPR called me the pet calming maestro. And I'm usually, in fact, every one of these, I've started with reading a bit of my memoir. I'm actually not going to read from my memoir tonight. And the reason why is because the section that I read from the memoir is usually relevant to what I'm playing. And I haven't lived this section yet. So I haven't written it yet because there's still some things that are going to happen that I'm going to be writing about. In the meantime, this will give you about a little bit of history and where I am right now. So in 2017, after 10 years of creating music to relieve pet anxiety, NPR called me the pet calming maestro. While I didn't graduate from Juilliard to perform for dogs and cats, it warms my heart and feeds my soul to use my music talents to help improve the lives of our beloved pets. I dedicated over 10 years to exclusively doing that. I was fortunate to have been featured on the CBS Today Show, CBS Early Show, ABC Australia, featured in the San Francisco Chronicle magazine, and more. To this day, my piano playing is heard in over 1,500 shelters worldwide, where it's calming dogs and increasing adoption rates. After my serious hand injury in 2017, and while recovering from 4 hand surgeries to heal 7 complicated fractures in my right hand, I realized that in order to fully heal my hand and my heart, I needed to let go. I took a long break from my work as a pet calming maestro to focus on my healing, create Left Hand Lemonade, return to performing and teaching. I not only survived that uncertainty of not knowing whether I'd ever play the piano again with 2 hands, but I thrived. I'm here today to celebrate with you and your dogs. Yesterday, on May 15th, 2020, my non-compete ended. And now that I'm free to continue using my music talents to help dogs, I've decided to add that to the mix of my other very rewarding work. Thanks for celebrating with me. If you have a dog at home, give him or her a kiss for me. Let them know that there is more music coming their way to help reduce their stress and provide canine enrichment. And it's all played by a Juilliard graduate on a Steinway Concert Grand 9-foot piano, because nothing is too good for your pups. Give me a floating heart if you agree. Thank you. Thank you so much. I am thrilled to be celebrating this. It's really been pretty monumental in my life. So thank you for celebrating with me. Thanks for the hearts. I love it. And maybe you can train your dog to press the heart emojis. If you have a border collie, you probably can. So I am playing music not only for your pups tonight, but I'm also playing music for you. If it makes you sleepy, it's a compliment. If your dog starts snoring in 10 seconds, that's a compliment. I used to play music. I used to play concerts. I call them canine classical concerts, where I performed for dogs and other people. If you can imagine the logistics of booking a place that had a decent grand piano and was dog friendly and had plenty of space so that dogs wouldn't be on top of each other, it was a logistical nightmare. I no longer have to deal with this. I get to play this now for you while your dogs get to enjoy it in your home. So I'm thrilled for this opportunity. Thank you. I am going to start with a piece that I actually, when I did my all left-hand concert last week, I started with this. And I am playing this again for the dogs for 2 reasons. One is it calms me, so it's a good starter for me. Two, it's left hand. Lower frequencies have been proven to calm the canine nervous system. I read a very interesting article on WebMD last night that shows that dogs like lower frequencies. And there were so many requests last week. People really liked it. So it's very calming and it's very soothing. This is a piece that was originally written for flute, which is very high frequency, so I wouldn't want to play that for dogs. But it was rearranged by Paul Wittgenstein, and Paul Wittgenstein had lost his right arm in World War I. So this is the left-hand arrangement of the Bach Sicilian. The full program, by the way, is in the event description if you want to follow along. So the Bach Sicilian arranged for left hand only. So Gina is snoring already. Are your dogs snoring at home? If they are, or if they're just relaxed, give me a heart or a thumbs up. It'd be nice to know how Coco and Pearl and Quince and Tate and how they're all doing. And great. And Casey's watching with his dogs. Great, fantastic. So the cool thing is when I used to play these canine classical concerts, I'd actually, to relax dogs, I'd actually have people not applaud. So the thumbs up and the hearts are really good. It's like clapping. It's just like doing a canine classical concert, but your dogs are there. So the next two pieces are, so the whole program tonight is a combination. I'm starting with music for left hand only. I've gotten quite experienced at that the last 2.5+ years. And music that's originally written and no changes at all by our brilliant composers, Bach and Brahms and so forth, and a music specially written for me that I can't wait to premiere. And the next two pieces I arranged for left hand only. And these are, I'm not going to read this because it was a little hard to read in here. So give me 1 second. While I'm getting this, you can take a look. Can you see Gina? Give me a thumbs up if you can see Gina. She's right there. She's always hard to see. So I put her on a white pillows, white towel, and put a yellow ribbon around her, a band around her to represent Left Hand Lemonade. So give me a thumbs up. Fozzie really needs us today. Okay, great. And grab my music. Gina, you're in entertainment right now. So I've started intuitively. Could you see Gina? So thumbs up. Great. I'm blocking her now. Her eyes are open, but she's almost like snoring with her eyes open. It's funny. So I am playing a Massenet melody and a Karganov arabesque. And I'm playing these with one hand, and the melody is completely in the thumb. But one of the requirements for music that can slow down your dog's heart rate and even reduce the cortisol level is a very steady tempo, very predictable patterns, and a slow tempo between 40 and 60 beats per minute. So these are slow pieces. The melody is all in the thumb, which in the left hand tends to be like the clunky finger. So my job as a pianist, which I think I've learned to do doing so much left hand music in the last few years, is making it very smooth in the melody line. And in this case, some of the melody is actually in the lower voice while I'm playing this steady pattern in both of these pieces that are just steady eighth notes on the offbeat in the inner part of the hand. So enjoy, groom your dogs, pet your dogs, kiss your dogs for me, and I'm going to play both of these pieces together, the melody and the arabesque. your dogs doing? Are you staying awake? So, I'd love to know if there's any particular music I'm playing tonight that your dogs were particularly affected by. Thanks for the hearts. And I'm going to be going into some music originally written for left hand. So the Scriabin Prelude, which I also played last week. I've just fallen in love with Scriabin. I can't play enough of them. So I'm playing both the Prelude for left hand and then also the Opus 11 Prelude for two hands because it's just so beautiful. And then we're going to go into the world premiere. And oh, great. Just reading great comments. And by the way, you don't have to have a dog. This is great for people as well. But particularly, I'd like to know, and also as we go into music for canine enrichment, I'd like to know, I want your feedback. I want you to be a part of this when I go to record this and put this on streaming and make this available to you to listen to. And as you go back to work and your dogs need music for separation anxiety. So I'd really love your feedback about any particular pieces that you've noticed that they were particularly responding to. And that being said, I will tell you that this would probably be more calming for them if I didn't talk so much, but I really am an educator. I love to tell you why I'm playing the music that I am. And what I've learned from my 10 plus year history is in working as being a pet calming maestro, I've learned that dogs, when you can create calm in their environment through music, and get them calm, they will tend to stay calm even as you pick up the pace of the music if nothing new is brought into their environment. And since dogs kind of have it made right now, they have you home 24/7, and usually you don't have the doorbell ringing and there's not as much going on right now because of the world situation, so there's probably not as much stimulation unless you're having a pizza delivery or something like that. So I am going to go into two Scriabin pieces. The first one is Opus 9. Opus is simply a chronological listing of a composer's work. So Opus 9, Gina, I'm blocking you, huh? So Opus 9 means pretty early in his writing. And this was, Scriabin wrote a prelude and a nocturne for left hand only. And then I'm going to go into a little bit of a Opus 11, number 21 nocturne that Scriabin wrote for two hands. So I'd also be curious to know, is there any difference that you're noticing the dog between these two nocturnes? And here we go with the Scriabin nocturne. I'm going to play these back to back, and the Scriabin nocturne for left hand and then the Scriabin nocturne for two hands. Scriabin was a late Romantic Russian composer. This was written in 1894. How are your dogs doing? Are they awake? Are they snoozing? The sound is far superior. Thank you. Thank you, Carol. I've learned it. I've learned. Thank you for the hearts. I've learned you got to start messy. You got to start somewhere. And each week it's gotten more comfortable. It's gotten a little better. I never in a million years thought I would be my own audio engineer with help from friends who are professional audio engineers that help with settings and so forth. But thanks, Carol. So I'm glad the sound is so much better. So I just learned something. I don't know if the sound is so good that you can hear Gina snoozing back there. But I've learned that when I go to record these, I can't have her in the studio because she snores. So it's a very soft snore. So speaking of snoring, I forgot to tell you at the beginning when I was talking about Sanchez, the guide dog puppy I raised, and then he was career changed. We didn't make it. And he came to live with me, and he passed away 3 years ago when he was 14. I want to show you a picture of him in his senior years, and it's one of my favorites. Of him. I'll post a picture later of him when he was a puppy and wearing his adorable guide dog for the blind jacket. But I wanted to leave this here because he is responsible for introducing me for helping me come up with the idea of creating music for dogs. And it just reminded me, Gina's snoring, which is a soft snoring. The first night I had Sanchez, he was 4 months old. He had had original puppy raiser from 2 months to 4 months. I got him. He came out from Morro Bay. I got him when he was 4 months old. And there's a huge manual that Guide Dogs gives you of like everything about your puppy, especially since he'd been in another home. Everything about your puppy, the personality and this, where he believes and so forth. But no one ever mentioned that he snored so loudly and he kept me up like all night that first night, and I wouldn't have it any other way. It was like that snoring became such a blessing. So I've fallen in love with dog snoring, and I hope your dogs are snoring at home. This next piece is an honor. First of all, it's a world premiere by a very talented composer, Zach Goluboff Davis, who is listening. So Zach, I don't know if you've posted a comment, if you could post another comment. He's now in New Jersey. So Zach and I met, our worlds, I just love it when worlds collide. I combined concert pianist with making music for dogs. When things don't go together and then they do, I just love it. So I am a huge dog agility enthusiast and competitor. Who here, I know I have some friends listening to do dog agility. I posted this in a lot of dog agility groups. Who here, if you can give me a thumbs up if you run agility with your dogs? Also give me a thumbs up if you know what agility is. And I'm going to grab a sip of water while you do that. Good. See, heart. So dog agility, which I'm missing dearly right now, is a very, very great. They're coming in, the thumbs, the hearts. Very, very fun sport that's just a blast to train, where it's time plus precision. So you're training your dog, you're handling your dog, you're directing them through an obstacle course. Up, she got up. You ready for agility? And you directing them over jumps and through weave pulls and up teeter-totters and up A-frames and dog walks, and it's all about precision plus timing, and you make it just these dogs is like Disneyland for dogs. So they just have so much fun. And I was running an AKC trial, I want to say 3 to 4 years, it might have been 4 years ago now. And I sometimes used to wear my Juilliard t-shirt when I was running dog agility. Hey, Gina. Good girl. I don't think they can see you. Good girl. I was wearing my Juilliard t-shirt because it helps build my confidence. So that helps inspire a conversation with the judge, Zach Goluboff Davis, who came up to me when he saw the t-shirt. He said, "Are you a musician?" I said, "Yeah, I graduated from Juilliard a long time ago, the piano major." Hi, sweetie. And I said, "Are you?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm a doctoral student." At the time, he was a doctoral student. How do you know we're talking about you? He was a doctoral student at Peabody Conservatory. And I had no idea how good he was. I looked him up and heard many of his compositions, and they were just so beautiful. And then I saw his description of his mission as a composer, so much matched mine as an performer and educator. So his mission is to create music that's very accessible, that's very easy to just fall in love with on the first hearing. Zach, I hope I have that right. You're welcome to add any comments to that. And my mission as a performer, what's up, G? My mission as a performer is to educate my public, to make music accessible, classical music accessible and easy to understand. I teach a class that I'm going to be putting online soon called Demystifying Classical Music. And it's to make it so it's not a mystery. So that's like once you have the key to the door, you just turn it and you know what to listen for, and it becomes very easy to listen to. So our missions collided, and then when I had my hand accident, I ended up with 7 fractures, and early on I really had very, very little use of my full right hand, but I had use of these 3 fingers in my right hand, plus, so 8 fingers. And Zach said, "Lisa, I'd like to write a piece for you for left hand only." And I said, "Great, but why don't you write it for 8 fingers? Because I've got 8 fingers to use." So he did. It was a challenge, and he loved the challenge. And Zach, you're welcome to chime in. It's a beautiful nocturne that I played here a few weeks ago that actually tells the story of my crash and my fall and my cloud, and then it's very dark, and then it ends very bright with a ray of hope. This piece is very different. So we talked specifically about him creating music for dogs, and this one is particularly for calming. So even though it's not left-hand alone, it's very bass-centric. It's a lot of bass, and it's a nocturne, which means it's a nocturnal piece, and the subtitle is The Stillness of Night. And it's a nocturne generally has a very consistent pattern. So like I was talking before, it's slow, and then it's also very heavy, not heavy, but just very rich bass. And then even the right hand reaches over and plays bass a lot. This piece is it's so breathtaking. He sent it to me, and I just haven't been able to stop playing it. So this is the world premiere. Thank you so much, Zach. You're such a gem. I'm so glad you're listening. AKC judge, and he's not busy judging right now. Normally he's flying all over the country every weekend judging a trial, but it's so sad there's no competitive agility right now. So hopefully there will be soon. And in the meantime, he's got a lot of more time to compose. So he also wrote another piece for me that I'm going to be playing next week or one of these coming weeks. So this is the Stillness of Night Nocturne, written for me, but it's really for your dogs. So tell me how they respond. Thank you. Thank you, Zach. Gina, love that. I love it. I just can't play it enough. What did you think? What did your dogs think? I was talking early. I'm going to repeat that just in case you didn't hear it. Thanks for the hearts. Thank you, Zach. I'm honored. I'm honored to have you here. I'm honored to have another piece written for me. And exquisite is a good word. Elizabeth wrote that, and it's just sublime. It's just sublime. And what do your dogs think? How they respond to it? So earlier I was talking about lower frequencies, calm dogs, and so the ending is my favorite part because he switches it. Zach puts the melody in the right hand when it crosses over. It's just so great. Okay, and Zach says send any questions his way. We tried something, we were going to try and get him on, and it was a little too complicated. So we're not going to do that, but we're going to try and double broadcast. So I'm just happy to get this much. So feel free to ask him questions. I'm just going to check the time, and Gina's still there. You can take a look at her. I don't know where the time goes. I time all these, and just I guess I talk more. So now I'm going to go into a few pieces for canine enrichment. I'm going to make this a little bit shorter, and I will add some more videos that aren't live too. So I'm going to change my mind. So I'm going to do one Bach piece and one Brahms piece. So the Bach is the preludium to the B-flat partita, Bach's first partita, and so now canine enrichment. So, earlier I was talking about dogs have it made right now because they have you 24/7. When you go back to work, that's going to be another problem. But right now, what I'm noticing, because dogs don't have their normal stimulation. I haven't had agility class, nor has anybody else. For those of you who go to dog parks, you haven't had that. And there are so many, every time I go for a walk, there are just so many more dogs out. And when Gina we can't do her normal playtime with her best buddies that are dogs. We don't have just a lot of our normal canine enrichment. So it's my job to provide that for her. And music is one way of doing that. So what I've noticed during this time is when she sees a person, she's like, a person, yay, do I get to play? Great. So it's just me and her. We've been sheltering in place. So it's a kind of a small world. So I've been training extra. I've been teaching her tricks. I have been teaching her canine freestyle, and music can also provide that enrichment. So now I'm going the opposite of what I was doing for the calming music. For the enrichment, I want things that cause you to listen. So I'm doing Bach that has some trills. You can hear a lot of that cause you to kind of go alert. So for people, it's really designed for body relaxed, mind alert. And it's helpful for you to have that for your environment so that when your dogs are by your side, the calming music is great when they're alone, and it's great for nighttime, and it's great when you want to be calm, but it might make you sleepy. So this music is more designed for environmental enrichment to provide that, you want to give them a bone, you want them to be enriched. So I'm going to play the B-flat partita preludium followed by the Brahms. I'm going to do the Opus 116, number 4 in E major. And so tell me how your dogs respond to this. I'm very, very much interested in their response. Thank you. I'm so sorry. I did not play what I said I was going to play. So that was my score, and the other one's from memory. I forgot. So I'll play the other one. So that was the E major prelude that's in the program. Now I'm going to play the Preludium to the B flat partita, and then I'll go into the Brahms Opus 116, number 4, Intermezzo. So Brahms is romantic, very rich romantic, and just have to adjust something. Would love to know what your dogs thought of that. Did it get too loud? How they respond? Thanks for the hearts. So I noticed Ms. Gina here she's still calm. If I gave her a bone, she'd love it. I just didn't want to do that music. It gets noisy, but she's not snoring as deeply as she was earlier. Brahms is rich. Brahms is like the darkest chocolate, or a really or Merlot or red wine that's bold, and it's very rich and complex. So in the music that's for environmental enrichment for dogs is just slightly faster and more complex, very rich. There's no alterations in this music. This is exactly how the composers wrote it, and very curious to know how your dog's responding to that. So I'm going to go into something that might be too complex. I'm not sure, so I'd love your feedback on this. So last week when I played the all left-hand program, I talked about a really challenging piece, probably the most challenging piece I've ever played for left hand only. It was a rearrangement of a Chopin etude, the Alien Harp etude, for left hand only by Godowski, another Polish composer. This is the original Chopin etude that the melody that I can finally reach. It's a bit of a stretch, but I can finally do it, including the opening. And I'm once again going to say my motto, which is screw perfect and make music. If I miss some notes because I can't reach it, I don't think your dogs will care, and I'm not so sure Chopin would care. And it fulfills my heart to be able to just make music, so that's what I'm doing. So the melody is completely in the outer fingers, which are my fingers in recovery, while there's broken chords underneath. This is the Aeolian Harp etude of Chopin. Please give me your feedback how you like it, as well as how your dogs are responding. And I don't know yet whether this is too complex for them, so I'd love to get your feedback on that. Thank you. So, did your dogs wake up from hearing that? Are they still chilled out? Great. I'd love to know, feel free to post detailed comments. Also feel free to post pictures of, your dogs listening right now. That would be cool too. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you. So what I say is that piece was my response to the hand therapist early on that told me I'd never play the piano again. So I showed her, and here we are playing with two hands Chopin etudes. Also played the big works of Chopin, the Polonaise Fantasy and the Third Scherzo. Was that 2 weeks ago? I think it was 2 weeks ago. So I am going to close and check the time. Hold on. Okay. We started a little bit late, so we're about an hour. So can you hang with me, and your dogs can hang? And we've got one more piece. So this is, I gave you a little preview of this. If you are on my email list at lisaspector.com, I gave you a preview of this in my email that went out yesterday. Speaking of which, if you are interested in more music for dogs, on my website at lisaspector.com, on any page, there's a place to not only sign up but also express what interest you're in. So my email list for pet music interest list is growing, and I have 2 videos ready to go out this week if you sign up soon for that interest list. I have a video going out on canine enrichment. I'm going to give you some really easy tips, and I'm going to demonstrating with Gina, and you don't need to buy anything. It's just things you already have at home, including in your refrigerator, I'm positive, and things that you can do to provide canine enrichment for your dogs. And also a video that I have going out on preparing your dogs. I don't know if your dogs are having challenges with seeing so many people wearing masks. Sometimes it could be fearful. So how to train that. I also do some dog training. And then if other interests. So I have demystifying classical music if you're interested in that. If you're interested in my piano online courses, I have a new course I'm developing that I'm beta testing this week with some graduates from my recent Piano Ninja Tricks, and it's called Winning the Musician's Mind Game. It's a topic I just love. Can't wait to teach it, so I'm going to be growing that as well. So when you sign up, you'll actually be given a free video that's an intro. It's an unlisted video, so it's not accessible to anyone else unless you sign up on my list, and it is a free intro to demystifying classical music. All the things you're learning tonight about classical music, I just love to teach. I want to make it accessible to everyone. So again, I thank you so much for spending your time with us tonight and your dogs. And I will play this last piece and then I'll say a good night. So this is an arrangement of an orchestral piece. It's one of my favorite orchestral pieces for symphony. It's the Enigma Variations by Elgar, and it's the variation called Nimrod. It is just gorgeous. I did an arrangement myself of the beginning of it that's for left hand alone, and since I have use of my both hands now, I'm going to then bring in my right hand. Tell me if it gets too loud for your dogs. Is it, because it does get pretty loud, so tell me if I should keep that softer for them. Again, the more detailed the feedback, the greater. That'd be terrific. And there we go. Thank you. Love to know what your dogs think. Thank you for the hearts. And I always think I've heard that played magnificently live with the San Francisco Symphony. I had tickets on Thursday night of this week to all year to hear Yuja Wang, who's probably one of my favorite pianists alive, and she was going to be doing Brahms D minor 2 nights ago, and of course it was canceled. But just I always think of the San Francisco Symphony. I'm so blessed to live in an area with such a great symphony. I'd also, the other thing I'd like to know, and I asked this last week, and I was blown away with the answers. I'd love to know how you listen to your music at home. I had some answers of things I had never heard about, and I expected CDs or streaming or Alexa or something like that. I heard some pretty advanced things, so I'd love to get feedback. I'm going to be sending out a survey to my list and offering a prize for just answering the survey. So if you get on my list at lisaspector.com. I'm also accepting tips. And there's in the event description, there's a PayPal link. This is a totally free service. I'm doing this from my heart to yours and to your dogs. And if it's feasible for you, it's very welcome. And there's a PayPal link that's in the event description, as well as at lisaspector.com on Left Hand Lemonade. So I know there's a million things you could be doing with your time, and I so appreciate you listening from your homes, having your dogs by your side. I look forward to I can't see all the against. Okay, so I look forward to reading through the comments and reading about how your dogs responded to this, any detailed feedback, what they're needing. I just know it's an unusual time in our lives, and it's an unusual time in the dog's lives, because I have a pretty mellow dog. I mean, she does agility, so I can get her revved up, but she's going to be 11. And there's so much reactivity right now when she's walking, because there's so many dogs out, and there's just so much more her environment has changed just as much as mine has. And I think we love our dogs, and we bring them into our homes, and we want to provide the best for them. And I think it's up to us to really provide every tool we possibly can to make their lives calm. And they're always adjusting to us, so it's time that we also adjust to them. So there's so many things, and I'll be coming out with more and more of those when you sign up for my music pet interest. It's also just general tips, behavior tips as well. So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure spending this evening with you. I wish you a wonderful night, and hopefully that left you in a really restful place. And kisses to your pups, to Pearl and Fuzzy and Coco and Quince and Tate and all the busters out there. Thank you so much. It's been such an honor.